Welcome, everybody. I absolutely love the music choices. Kerry, thanks so much. This is going to be the best day of our lives. Why not? Our words create our worlds, after all, don't they? Welcome to our Sunday gathering. It is number 198. And yes, in just 2 short weeks, it will make 200 Sundays that we have been together. Whether you've been with us the whole way or you come along sometime on our road, we welcome you. We are here to uplift you, bring the two worlds together. Not that we need to, because our loved ones who have passed from this world are with us. They can easily keep one foot in our world and continue their journey in discovery in theirs. They're so close. But we're here to uplift, put a smile on your face, give you some cool tools for the upcoming week. Know that you're never alone. So, with that, it's Kerry, Phil, and myself that are here today. We welcome you. I'm going to turn it over to Kerry. She has picked the music, she has picked the theme, and I'm going to let her describe a little bit more. Over to you, Kerry.
Thank you very much, Sandra, and welcome everybody. Happy New Year. Although it was just a week since we've been here last, that was way back last year, 2023. Remember it all that way back?
Just feels like it was last week.
So this is the first one of 2024. So it seemed appropriate for me to look at new beginnings, new starts, new ways, new thoughts, new understandings. And so the music represents that. And I've asked Phil to do the opening prayer. I'm going to do the healing. I've chosen a short video for the reading today because it holds all the words that I wanted to be able to say to you. Sandra's going to do the address for us. Phil and I will deliver your mediumship and the words of the week, and then we'll finish off with some announcements, and I'll do the closing prayer. So it's my delight to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming along, Sandra. Thank you for coming along, Phil. I'm going to pass to Phil for the opening prayer.
Hello and Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. It is an absolute pleasure, as always, to be here. But it's my job to open this Sunday gathering in what we call prayer. Whatever your religion, whatever your faith, whatever your belief, it does matter not, because it's about joining together. So if you wish, you can say your own prayer in this moment as well. But ladies and gentlemen, let's gather together in what we call prayer. Great, infinite Spirit, we stand before you, Father, with open hearts and open minds. We ask for that love to be given, remembering that we join together, joining together not just through minds and understandings, but through love. Love that unites us all, a love that transpires, and a love that crosses that threshold of what we call death. But we also ask for the workers this evening to be inspired, to speak their truths, to be able to serve you, Father, in the best way that they can, allowing those loved ones to come forward to inspire us all, whether it is through those chosen words of the reading, the address, or the mediumship. But as we come together, we ask for that healing to come around the world, that healing that inspires and uplifts, but also gives us the courage to start those new beginnings, to take that first step, to allow that strength to come forward, for us to succeed in what we call this year of 2024. Again, Father, we're in your hands. We're walking and basking within your light. But most of all, we have that truth in our hearts and that divine spark in our hearts to make this life the best that we can. Amen.
So it's an absolute delight to be able to provide the healing segment for the... No, it's the reading. Sandra just gave me the... No. So we're going to go into the reading. I chose this video because as I was looking around for books and for phrases and for poems, this stood out for me. So I'm going to ask Sandra, if she would, to play this short video for you. after which we can move into that healing moment. I chose that video because Jim Kerry held all the words that I think we all need to hear for the start of 2024. As we move into this healing moment, I'd like you to hold his words within your mind and your soul. Take them into your heart too, for as you become that channel for healing for others, that healing resides within you, and it can make a difference to others as well as yourself. So take this time, think, consider, and ponder on the words and allow them to resonate within yourself. As you move into that silence, a song will start, and during that song, allow the music to move your thoughts and the healing to those that you know need it most, knowing the healing will be left within yourself as well. Let us go into that moment of healing.
Another great choice in song, Kerry. That's really great. And I loved hearing Jim Carrey's speech. And at the end, was he going to get the third Golden Globe Award? Today, the Golden Globes are actually on television tonight when those awards are given out. Now, I'm not sure if he's up for one, but it is kind of interesting that today's the day to see who gets what award. Anyways, let's go back to that song. Here Comes the Sun. Boy, that sun's way up there, isn't it? And it's just continually shining powerfully. It is, I don't even know how the sun feeds itself, that it keeps burning and feeds our world and creates that light, but it does. And so I think my message for New Beginnings is going to be one of empowerment. Be the sun, be the sun. And when I picture the sun and I go into meditation and sitting in the power, and I think of that divine spark that's in each one of us, I always picture it being as bright as the sun. I don't know what you guys do, but I picture this light that's in my belly that's just kind of just like a pilot light. It's just burning very small. And then I just imagine it growing and growing and growing. And this bright light just comes pouring out of me. And then I imagine the divine light, God, the universe, being the sun. Here comes the sun, and those two lights blend, and I just sit into that power. That's how I do it. That's how I sit in the power. But it is the sun. So I was picturing that as the words played. So be the sun. Yeah, be the sun. That's pretty empowering. I was speaking to a woman a day before yesterday, and she was sharing about some of the books that she has written about grief. And she told me a story, and she has just about everybody in her life deceased. She's gone through an incredible amount of grief. And she said her husband of 20 years then passed. And she said for the first few months, there were people there bringing their casseroles and calling her and what can we do for you? And she says in just a matter of months, all those phone calls and those well-wishers stopped. And she found herself very alone. And time went on, depression, like Jim Carrey mentioned, that's there. And it was a very dark spot. And a new year came for her, and she found herself the beginning of January, whatever year it was, looking at New Year's resolutions. And I don't know if you're like me, but my New Year's resolutions never last, right? They go just a little while and then they seem to fizzle out. And she described, instead of having a New Year's resolution, have a New Year's intention. So she said, I created the intention, not having any evidence of this, that people would invite her to things and she would say yes. So I think an intention is putting it out there, not just for yourself, because a resolution is something that's rather solo. You're just doing it. Whereas an intention, you get to allow these unseen forces, the divine, your loved ones, your soul, to all work on your behalf. So she said, in no time at all, these invitations started coming. Invitations to go to dinner parties, go to a movie. The more she said yes to, the more that happened. She had opportunities to travel the world, all out of creating that powerful intention. Being busy and being with other people was something really wonderful for her to move her way through grief and learn a lot. So you'll hear an interview coming out next Friday or Saturday with a lady named Emily, and she tells more of the story, but it inspired me to ditch the word resolution and use the word intention. So, what is it for you that is meaningful for you? What intention do you want to put out there and let these unseen forces help you? I remember hearing the author Mike Dooley speak of intentions. And, at that time, the law of attraction was out there and, it got a lot of fame. But the one missing piece of the puzzle was action. There's a lot of people saying, just dream of tall, dark, and handsome, or beautiful lady, or whatever that is, and keep repeating it to yourself, and voila. And he said, no, it doesn't work that way. You want Mr. or Miss Wonderful to show up in your life. If you just set that out to the world and you don't take any action, you're waiting for the pizza delivery person to show up, and that's them. But he says, like a GPS or sat nav, he says you have to program the destination. And while that's good to put that out in the world, the next step is to take action. So take action. Leo Russell, I think, is the woman who wrote the book, God Will Work With You, but Not For You. And while I don't really remember everything in the book, what I do remember is that title. I do 100% based on what I have experienced in my life. And I'm going to say it, I'm going to use the word, I've experienced miracles. I really have. But it is something, putting something out there and letting these unseen forces kind of fill my sails with wind, working with me, but not for me. I think, if you want to call it God, divine, universe, has to know we're serious. It has to know we are taking action ourselves. So how do we go about taking this action, right? I spoke to a lovely lady named Claudia Milligan, who is my most recent episode that I just aired last night. Claudia's son is in the spirit world. He took himself there at the age of 29. And of course, that is every parent's worst fear and obviously the worst nightmare that had happened. She got into the practice of what she calls intuitive writing. Some people call it inspired writing and channeling and all these different things. She says, I don't want to get caught up in titles, but she puts herself in that spot, kind of like how I described sitting with the sun, but with a very powerful intention in the beginning, just to help alleviate some of the pain. And she heard her son's voice just for a moment. And then she said, why not use it to connect with him? And for the course of a whole year, she would go into that quiet space and be in front of her computer or her laptop. And she would write. She would write things that she had left unsaid, or describe her feelings of guilt, whatever that may be. And then just allow her son, or whatever would like to come out of her hands there, to surface. And in the beginning, of course, we all think it's us, don't we? We all think it's just our imagination. And some of our great teachers say, in the beginning, it can be 99% you and 1% our loved one or our soul speaking. But in time, and give it practice, and know that your loved ones want to be in touch with you as much as you want to be in touch with them, and just allow that space. And she says, after a year of doing this and looking back upon the readings, she says she's not really present when the words are coming out of her fingers. She's not in a trance or anything, but she's just kind of in the zone, right? And she read them, and this became her book, Letters to David. And the responses that she got from her son, even the relationship she now has with him, she says is so powerful. He's let go of all those demons that had him in that dark place, and he's empowered her. And she says there's this feeling of knowing, and no one can take that away from her. No one can take it away from her. She says no one can tell her that's just her imagination, because she says, I get this feeling. And when you take a class with Kerry and Phil on mediumship, that's how communication happens. They always teach, pay attention to feelings. She said what motivated her to take this action was pain. Pain is definitely a motivator because we want to get out of it. It's also said that moving towards something pleasurable, causes us to take action. But for each one of us, whatever that intention is, what is it that's going to fuel your sales? To me, I mean, that's a heck of a commitment to write every single day for a year. And I know people that do some wild things that they say every day for a year. And wow. And I think if you couple that with an intention and of being of service to others, it might tend to fulfill upon those things. There's a reason I think a lot of us don't succeed in things, and that's what our personal level of integrity is. The word integrity is just a word, but some people can take that as a make wrong, right? You said you would do this and you didn't, you're bad and wrong. Well, it's not that per se. It can be, but for each one of us, we live life. And I think it's so easy to forget who we are and what we want. And we do a lot of things that we think we should be doing. And there's no power in that. And yes, absolutely. I know we have to work. Sometimes people are working a job that they don't like, but it puts food on the table. By all means, I'm not telling you to quit your job, but to also include things that are important to you, or set that intention that your income becomes what you love. I think for the beginning of the year and new beginnings, I think it's important for each of us to take a look at our personal integrity. I had a coach once who says, make an integrity list. Well, what does that mean? That means all those things that you think you should be doing, or you promise someone you do, or courses you signed up for, maybe that you haven't done, things that are on your to-do list. Fill it with all those things that are unresolved for yourself. And then also put on there some of your dreams and what it is that you really want. And go through the list. And there may be conversations that you need to have with people that you haven't done. Whatever those are, just write it all down. You don't ever have to show another person this. But be honest with yourself. There are things on that list that you'll want to get done. There are things on that list that maybe you signed up for 2 years ago that you're never going to do, and your feelings have changed. I give you my full permission to cross things off that list, really. But if you can, the first step is making the list, and the list, it continues to evolve. Sometimes you cross things off, sometimes you add things to it. But that first step really puts you in an empowering place where you actually start feeling stronger. It's a lousy feeling to know you have things to do that are left undone. And it gets in the way of us being powerful. So just by nature of writing that list for the new beginning for 2024 might make a difference. And look with who you are currently as to what it is you're really going to do about it. Like I said, cross things off if they're no longer there for you. Add things that inspire you. You don't have to say yes to everybody. I know many of us have been guilty of that. If there's a place you need to clean up with somebody and apologize, do that. There's so much freedom, I tell you, in being honest and apologizing, even telling people, I don't know how to say this, but there's something I feel bad about. A lot of people have this. Many people lie. They're too afraid to show that they haven't done something or share those negative parts of themselves. But I don't know about you, but people that can show their true self, even the good and the bad and the ugly, I love those people for just being real, as opposed to people that have to show you all the good stuff, right? So that's what I have to say about power, is look at that integrity. I want to read to you something now, which I think you're going to love. Years, well, for many years here in America, and it's still on a show called 60 Minutes, but there was a gentleman called Andy Rooney, and he would always get on there and just for a few minutes give something really empowering for life, some empowering message. So I found a list of some of his most empowering statements, and I just want you to let them soak in, right? And if they can help you with that integrity, if they can help you realize who you are and that you are the sun, let it just soak in there. Now, Andy Rooney passed at the age of 92. He was on this show for 33 years, right up until 1 month before his passing. So just because you're 92 years old does not mean that you have to retire. You just find that thing that you're passionate about. And he was passionate about these Rooney-isms. So here's some of his words that I think will make a difference for us all. He says, I've learned that let me start again. I've learned that the best classroom in the world is at the feet of an elderly person. I've learned that just one person saying to me, "You've made my day," makes my day. I've learned that having a child fall asleep in your arms is one of the most peaceful feelings in the world. I've learned that being kind is more important than being right. I've learned that the average dog is nicer than the average person. I've learned that I can always pray for someone when I don't have the strength to help them in some other way. I've learned that no matter how serious your life requires you to be, everyone needs a friend to act goofy with. I've learned that sometimes all a person needs is a hand to hold and a heart to understand. I've learned that we should be glad God doesn't give us everything we ask for. I've learned that it's those small daily happenings that make life so spectacular. I've learned that under everyone's hard shell is someone who wants to be appreciated and loved. I've learned that to ignore the facts does not change the facts. I've learned that love, not time, heals all wounds. I've learned that the easiest way for me to grow as a person is to surround myself with people smarter than I am. I've learned that everyone you meet deserves to be greeted with a smile. I've learned that life is tough, but I am tougher. I've learned that opportunities are never lost. Someone will take the ones you miss. I've learned that I wish I could have told my parents that I love them one more time before they passed. I've learned that a smile is an inexpensive way to improve your looks. I've learned that everyone wants to live on top of the mountain, but all the happiness and growth occurs while you're climbing it. I've learned that the less time I have to work with, the more things I get done. And last, he says, I've learned that life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer it gets to the end, the faster it goes. So thank you, Andy Rooney. My friends, make it count. Be true to yourself. Have integrity. Your dreams do matter. Life is like that train, that we're traveling across wherever. Certainly, we're going to get to a destination and we're going to keep on we'll get on another train. But while we're here, enjoy the journey. We know we've heard it, but let's live it. All I want to say is you can never go wrong with love. As Jim Carrey said, as Andy Rooney said, as Kerry and Phil often say, and we can never, ever, ever, ever go wrong if we make our life about being of service to others. So thank you. That concludes my address. All right, I'm going to change hats and we are going to go into our demonstration of mediumship. Let me just take a breather and smile. All right. Kerry and Phil today are our fabulous mediums. And if you didn't know this, the new classes with them start this coming week. So you may want to join in. There's nothing quite like really feeling how your soul communicates and receives information. But for today, they will bring through a handful of friends from the spirit world. And I know you hear me say the same thing over and over on a Sunday gathering, but sometimes and quite often we have people here for the very first time. So as this is our first Sunday gathering of 2024, let's all pretend that this is the very first time you've met Sandra, Kerry, and Phil, and you get to be part of our Sunday gathering and our demonstration. We have two magnificent mediums here today, Kerry McLeod and Phil Dykes. I'm so grateful to call them best friends as well. They've been longtime mediums and they're phenomenal tutors. This coming year, traveling the world. Some of our friends in Southern Florida get to meet them in Miami later this month. And on our Sunday gathering today, they will work with the spirit world, invite those who wish to communicate to do so. You see Kerry, Phil, and myself as three representatives of all of you, and we're close to about 200 people on our Sunday gathering today. Well, we'll get a handful of loved ones that speak on behalf of everybody's loved ones. So if your loved one doesn't come through today, don't worry. Pull the information towards you, pull the demonstration towards you, the evidence, the message, all of that, because your loved ones are with you. They absolutely are. They can multitask. Of course they can. But through these demonstrations, we get to know just how close they are and just how much of a part of our lives they still are. We don't really have a choice of who comes through, no matter how much we pray and hope and all that. The spirit world have it handled behind the scenes. So there will be a man or woman, boy, grandfather, daughter, who knows, from the spirit world that will work with Kerry and Phil. They are going to use everything they've got. And like I said, Kerry and Phil teach about feelings. They're going to pay attention to their feelings, and there will be a person that presents themselves to them. They're going to use everything they've got. They might use words, they might use pictures, they might use feelings, they might use tastes and sounds and smells. We don't know. But they will work with them. You'll hear Kerry or Phil, once they connect with a person, give a few initial bits of information about the person that has connected with them. And yes, they are still people. They are not balls of energy. We are real people when we go to the unseen world. They'll give a few initial bits of information about that person. We want everybody to be listening in on this. All right, really do, because your loved ones know just who's here. They know that you're on the Sunday gathering. You might think you're out for a walk, not paying any attention, but they know you're listening. They do. So Kerry or Phil will give a few initial bits of information about the spirit person that has contacted them. If you can understand all of the information they just described as your person, we want you to press your raise hand button. Now, this is the time for you to look on whatever device you are, find that raise hand button, press it a couple of times, see how it works. It'll say raise hand, lower hand, raise hand, lower hand. All right. Your person could be someone you're close to in life, a loved one, a family member, could be a work colleague, could be a friend. It could be someone a little bit distant also. Okay, so really listen in. Spirit world works in weird and wonderful ways sometimes. You just don't know. But we do ask that you can understand all the bits of information. Now, like I said, we are close to 200 people here today, so it's important that you understand all the information. If you can understand all the information, press that raise hand button. If we have 2 or more people that can understand that information, well, Kerry or Phil will keep giving information so that we get down to 1 hand. Okay, so you really want to be listening in on that. When you work with a medium, any medium, and with our mediums today, all we need from you is a good hearty yes, no, or I don't know to the information that they give you. All right. It's important that everyone knows that Kerry and Phil or other mediums really are working with people in the spirit world, that you didn't volunteer the information about them. So that's very, very important. Very important. Yes, no, or I don't know. Okay, I think that's it. If I missed anything, we'll get back to it when Kerry and Phil come on board for the demonstration. We always like to play a feel-good piece of music before our demonstration begins. And today is no different. So sit back, relax, dance in your seat. Imagine your loved ones who are right there by your side. Be with them. They're here. This is all very real, and enjoy the song. That's right. Welcome, Kerry and Phil.
Hello. That song I found incredibly interesting because we've all heard of lip syncing, but I found it really interesting that that artist asked everybody else to do his video for him, and it makes for better viewing. And we all know we've stood around and sung to songs and looked like we were singing to them until we realised we're not sounding just like the artist. But there we go. Certainly was a song that got us singing along. And I know as I begin to work with the spirit world here, I know I have a gentleman, and I get the sense that I am looking for somebody in our audience that would have been on a fairly large boat or a small yacht with a gentleman in the spirit world. I do not have the relationship of the gentleman just yet, but I know that the name James would factor strongly with our sitter, with our person in the audience. You would understand the name James and a gentleman in the spirit world that you would have memories of being on a yacht with.
Thank you so much, Kerry. All right, friends who can understand this information, go ahead and press your raise hand button, please. Everyone has paid attention that if they can't receive all the information, don't press their hand button. But however, oh, Nancy, where did you go? Did you change your mind? Nancy, you had your hand raised and you put it down. All right, there you are, Nancy. Nancy, if you could find the unmute button that's there now, press it. Hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Welcome.
I can't take it as a small yacht, but it was his yacht, his boat. It's my dad.
Oh, okay, Nancy, can I work with you for a second just to see if this unfolds enough for us? You would understand this is Dad, but you would have been on this yacht with, or this boat with your dad,
Yes.
and you would also understand the name James.
Yes.
Okay, but your dad would have known the person called James as well.
It's his name.
It's his name. Okay. Because your dad was fairly straightforward and to the point, wasn't he?
Yes.
Because I know as I get to work with him here, he's a man of few words, but he's painting beautiful pictures in my mind of memories you would have with him. There would be photographs, Nancy, of you and your dad on this boat.
Yes.
And I know too that there must be a photograph where you've got your dad on his boat, but actually you've got a photograph of the name of the boat as well.
Not sure.
Okay. Then you would know you have a photograph of your dad side on and him on the boat.
Yes.
If you have a look at that photograph, you will be able to see the name of his yacht or his boat on there. I know too with your dad, he appearances mattered to him.
In a sense.
Okay, because I know he would have not wanted to do anything by halves. If he was going to do something, he liked, Sandra spoke earlier about integrity. He liked to do things fully and properly.
True.
Okay, because I got the sense from him that he didn't like to let people down. He didn't worry, but he got himself concerned with how people thought about him if he couldn't do things properly.
Mm.
Let me put it a different way for you, Nancy. There would be times with your dad that he wasn't there for you in every way that you needed him to be.
Yes.
Okay, because I know that he would have applied himself to other areas of his life that he felt were important.
Yes.
And I know this feeling from him was that external to the family, that world seemed to matter a lot to your dad. Within the family and with you, he didn't seem to apply the same effort to you.
Mm.
You don't understand that.
No.
Then with your dad, I feel that there is a sense of him wishing that he could have done things differently where you were concerned.
Yes.
And I get the sense from him that he carries a sense of wanting to make things better.
Yes.
I also get a sense that he didn't get the opportunity before he passed to clarify and clear things up with you.
No.
You don't understand that, Nancy.
No.
Then would you know that you have found things out about your dad after he passed?
Yes.
Because I know there's elements here of your dad not being able to share everything with you before he passes. But I do know that you were very clear with him about your feelings for him.
Yes.
And I know he is ever so grateful that he got that opportunity for his heartwarming experience. And you opened the opportunity for him to have that conversation with you.
Yes.
And I know this is such an area of him that is so, so grateful to you, given everything that you still had that within your heart for you and him to have those moments. I know that as you would have spoken with your dad on the phone just before he passed.
No. Well,
Then I
another
know,
dimension.
okay, he's given me this impression that before he passed or before he got ill, you had a conversation with him and then you went to go and see him. You understand what I'm saying, Nancy?
Not exactly. No.
Okay, but you know there would be this going to see your dad, having spoken to him, going to see him.
In another dimension.
Right. I know this is how he gives it to me, and I know this is him offering his apology to you, even though you don't need to hear it from him. But I I absolutely know he wants to share with you that the start of the year was a time that you and him would have spoken and put everything behind you and moved forward. And I know this is what he wants to do today, Nancy, is that stepping forward into a new year. Because I know right at this time, you need your dad standing right beside you in spirit.
Yes.
And this is his way of saying, I am right there for you, Nancy. Let's step forward into 2024.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing me to do that for you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Kerry.
Okay. I do have a gentleman here with me in the spirit world, and I feel like he would have I feel like he would have flown planes, but not air jets, or I feel like he would have flown airplanes that would have gone incredibly fast. So fighter jets, or I know you got those aerobatic flights. I know there's a gentleman in the spirit world, and he would have flown high speed fighter jets or high speed planes. And I know he did this when he was younger. He did not pass until he was older, though. So I need you to cast your mind back to a gentleman you know in the spirit world that would have flown these high-speed planes.
Thank you, Kerry. All right, friends who can understand that information. Okay, we have Linda with her hand raised. Linda, if you could press your unmute button. Hi,
Yes.
Linda.
Hi.
Hi, Linda. You understand everything I've said?
Yes, I do.
He was very talented at flying those planes and the aerobatics and the moves he did in them.
Yes.
And you would have not only would you have heard stories about him, but you would have seen him do this.
Yes.
And I know that you would have, as he got older, you would have saw him fly those planes as an older, more mature gentleman as well.
Not sure about that.
Okay, then you would have saw him fly planes, but not the fighter jets as he got older.
Yes.
Okay, but I know he would have told you stories. If I were to cast you back to the film Top Gun, as they do maneuvers that would seem almost impossible, this gentleman would have told you stories about how he did maneuvers that were very intricate.
Yes.
And I know that he would have told you about I can't remember the term for it, but when you're thrown back in the seat and how that incredible pressure hit
Yes.
him. I know too that you would have a photograph of him outside his plane and another one of him in the cockpit.
Yes.
And as he's in the cockpit, there's another gentleman behind him in this plane.
Yes.
I have to say that you must have been to the Top Gun flying range or in San Diego.
No.
If that's not the case, then you would have known he would have flown there.
Yes.
Okay, because I feel like he is part of this. I genuinely don't know if it's called Top Gun, but I know that he would have flown planes. Linda, can I double check with you? This gentleman wasn't part of the Top Gun film.
No.
No, but I know that he flew in the area of the San Diego Top Gun squad or place.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. but he would have had an incredible sense of humor with him as well. A very
Yes.
daring character and a fantastic sense of humor.
Yes.
And I know you would have loved listening to him tell his stories.
Yes.
I know too, Linda, that he would have taken you to air shows as he got older.
Yes.
And in those air shows, he would have talked about the different types of planes and the different sizes of engines and maneuvers.
Yes.
And I know there would be a photograph he would have taken of you when you went up the stairs into one of the aircraft.
Yes.
He actually liked cooking as well, Linda.
Um, mm, I'm not
I'll
sure
take
about that.
Okay, then there would be one dish that he was well known for when he cooked.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because I can smell the food. It would have had an element of heat to it, not temperature, but spices or chili,
Yes.
because I can smell the spices or the chili here. And I know it would be something he would do. It would have been like a chili, Linda.
Yes.
Okay, because as I'm saying, it's like a chili, he's laughing in the background at me saying it's like a chili. I know that there are times within his family that people would come around and have barbecues or family get-togethers, but there are lots of people at these gatherings.
Yes.
And he would have this big bowl of chili.
Yes.
You would know where he made his own tortilla chips as well.
That I'm not sure about.
Okay. Then, Linda, you must have recently been to a place where there were handmade tortilla chips.
Yes.
Okay, so I know this is his way of saying he saw where you were, he watched what you ate, and the chili or the food was not as good as his, and you would have
Yes.
commented on this.
Yes.
I know this daring character of him, of flying and of this family is so strong here. Linda, you would know this gentleman to be uncle.
No.
Okay, but he's very close to you.
Yes.
Okay, because I know then this, if this isn't your uncle, you would also have, this would be your dad, Linda.
No.
Okay, but you would have dad in the spirit world as well.
Yes.
Okay, because I know, and your dad's brother would also be in the spirit world.
Um, no.
Okay, but you have an uncle there.
No.
Really?
Wait. No.
Okay, because I know as this gentleman comes in, I know that dad comes with him, but I've got another gentleman here.
Okay, I do. It's an uncle by marriage. I was thinking,
Okay,
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 yes.
that's okay, that's okay, because I know these three gentlemen come in, and I know that as we embark on this new year, it's his way of saying, come on, get some of those old tricks out the hat and get doing them and start living life to the full and really be daring this year because you've had thoughts that he's heard about stepping out and doing something different.
Yes.
And it's his way of saying, I've heard those thoughts. Remember the stories I used to give you about the daring things that I did. And I know as I finish up here, I know your dad would have had a different character to the gentleman that flew the planes.
Yes.
And your dad would have been the solid rock for you.
Yes.
And as he was a solid rock for you, I know your dad would have never told you a lie.
Yes.
He would have always told you the truth.
Yes.
And even as he got more unwell, he always wanted the truth from the family and the doctors.
Yes.
And he is wanting to let you know he will always tell you the truth. And the truth is, you have heard his voice.
Yes.
Okay. And he wouldn't ever lie to you. So whatever you heard was him. Please know that he is with you. He is guiding you and supporting you as you do whatever you're going to be doing in that daring manner this year. I'm going to leave their love with you, Nina. Linda, thank you very much for allowing me to do that for you.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Linda.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Kerry.
Can I say, ladies and gentlemen, amazing. First contact, fully clairsentient, which is a real science of feeling. And that second contact, fully clairvoyant. And to be delivering a contact with that evidence in that last one, you have to be in the essence of the communicator. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to learn to work like that, come to the classes, come to Miami, because this is what we want to do, raise the standard of mediumship, and I've got to follow that. Okay, so you can tell I'm shaking in my boots a little bit. There we go, because we never know what's going to happen. But as I become aware of the spirit world, I know I want to talk about Dad. And as I work with Dad, I know he was in the army. And I also know he was in the infantry as well. So I know he would have been on foot. I know he would have seen service. And I also feel here that he would have been special forces as well. And it feels where I want to be in a multiple of things. So I know I'm on that front line. And when I say that, I want to be, it's almost like I want boots on ground. But I know those secret service, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go there just yet, but I know there were special operations, almost where I went into a specialist unit as well. And I also feel here that I was in charge of other men as well. And I get the impression with him, he would have either received rewards for his courage and his actions as well. And I also feel he would have earned a nickname along the lines of either Mad Dog or Madman or something, because I know here he has a tattoo that represents that element as well. So I know he's got tattoos. So I've got Dad, I know he was in the army, I know he was special forces, and I know he had that nickname along those lines.
Thank you very much, Phil. All right, friends, who understands that information? Go ahead and press your raise hand button. Suzanne has her hand raised. Suzanne, if you could find that unmute button that now appears. There you go. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi there.
Hello, Suzanne. Do you understand everything I've said?
Everything except the tattoo.
The tattoo. Then, if I'm wrong, let me hold that for a second. But your dad would have been in either special forces.
At some point in his career, he was.
That's fine, because I know here, the reason I want to mention this for a second, because I know there was operations, but I know there's not a lot of knowledge known about it. Understand?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, because I also feel there was photographs of your father with either comrades or his platoon as well.
Oh, yes. Many photos.
Because I know here that these would have been taken abroad as well.
Yes.
And it's almost where I want to say where he was abroad was a hot country.
Yes.
Because I also feel that there was downtime for your father and those soldiers, and there would be photographs of them either doing sports or some kind of activity.
There may be.
That's fine, because I know where I wanted to place the tattoo is in those pictures. So if it's not him, then I know that platoon had a particular tattoo, and I know you will see it on those photographs as well. But I know with your father that he was a straight talking man.
Yes.
And I also believe as well, if he didn't like you, you would know it, or people would know it.
Yes.
Because I also feel that he could hold his own and he would have a presence about him that people felt.
Yes.
And I want to really push that a little bit, because there was times with your father, and I'm going to be really specific here. I know he would never harm you, but I feel that sometimes that power and presence he had made you feel on edge?
Yes.
Because I actually feel that people quaked in their boots as well. But I
Yeah.
also feel with your dad that he would have also not just been in special forces, but would have had something to do with the military police as well.
Not sure.
You're not sure. Would I be right in saying in those photographs there would be pictures of your dad in full smart dress uniform?
Yes.
And in those photographs with the smart dress uniform, there would be people in either three-piece suits or civil suits as well.
Yes.
I know what I'm saying is correct. And if you look on there, they must either be politicians or senators, somebody of official high rank.
Yes.
And I know he serves, and I know there is an element, if it's not military police, I want to say that he was in some kind of either investigate bureau or agency work as well.
Intelligence.
That's fine, because I know here it's all about policing in some way, and I have to really stress that. And I also know there is a photograph of your father saluting as well,
Oh, yes.
because I want to salute you from the spirit world for how you've held the family together and how you have given them the marching orders at time.
Do you mean me?
Yes, I do mean you.
Yeah, I would say yes.
I know, because your father is really presenting it this way as well. There must also be photographs of your father, and I'm looking at this in a couple of different ways, of him stripping down and rebuilding and polishing guns.
Perhaps.
Because, and I know that he would have, I actually want to say as well, he would have been a really good marksman with guns.
Not sure.
Not sure. But I know, thank you. He would have also been responsible for training other troops as well.
That's more like it.
Because I know here he's stripping down the guns, he's showing them how to fire, and I know here that you don't give him, I can't say that word, back answers. I nearly slipped with a bull word, but I know you don't give him back answers. And I know sorry, I can't get my words out, whatever he taught, he could do.
Yeah. Yes.
I also feel as well, like I said at the beginning, he would receive awards or medals for his. In fact, I'm going to step back. He would have received stars for his actions and bravery.
Stars and medals.
That's fine, because I know I want to talk about the medals, but I want to give him stars as well. And I feel each star represented an act of bravery.
The stars represent his rank.
Okay, that's fine. I've got it the wrong way around, but I know then it's the medals that represent the bravery that he did, and I know there was more than one. I'm looking at what you've said now, and I'm thinking about it a different way. Would I be right in saying he was either of rank, either general?
He was a general.
That's fine, because I know I wanted to clear that little bit up and just challenge and question him as well. But I know as I did that, he didn't like it. So I know he didn't like to be challenged. He didn't like to be talked back to.
Yes.
Okay. And I also know at home, he would give you your chores as well, Suzanne.
Oh, yes.
And you never answered back as well. It was you expected to do it. And I also,
yes
sorry,
and no.
okay,
I didn't
what
answer back until later.
Okay, that's fine. But I also know then if I look at this and correct myself, when you were younger, you didn't need to be told twice. You just got that look and you knew you had to do it.
Yes, absolutely.
That's fine. I want to leave you with his love, but I also want to leave you with the fun side of him, of all those photographs, because I know there's a wide range of them. Thank you. Just one more thing, and I just want to look at this again. Would I be right in saying that your father, before he passed, he was awarded the American flag, but it was on behalf not just of his service, but for either saving a number of troops?
He's Canadian, and he received a flag at his burial.
Okay, bear with me
Um,
1 second. There must be an award where either, and I've got, sorry, I've got the nationality wrong, because I knew where I was in the country, but just slightly higher up. It feels here where I either saved either a platoon or I saved a group of soldiers from either certain death by my actions.
Likely.
Okay,
He hasn't,
because I
he
know
hasn't
that there's a
ordered.
recognition of this. So I'm going to leave his love with you, Suzanne, and say thank you very much for allowing me to do that. He is very proud of you, and I know he wasn't scared of showing his emotions because he's just said, I love you so much.
Thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate
absolutely
the
welcome.
message.
And one of your last memories, and again, it's something between you and your father, your dad, when you were a child, he always blew you a kiss
Yes.
because he keeps on blowing you kisses. Okay, I'll leave you with his love and say thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Phil. And Dad, of course.
Okay. So as I become aware of the spirit world once more, ladies and gentlemen, I know I have a gentleman here by the name of Peter, and I actually feel that it's either brother or brother-in-law. And as I work with him, I get the impression that one, I would have either lived on my own for a period of time. I also know where I lived would have been either in a country house out of the way, in the sticks, as we say in United Kingdom. But I also feel as well there would have been either an accident with his right arm where either he couldn't use it or it was severely maimed, or is that a word? Yeah, okay, severely maimed as well. So I know I have Peter. I feel I could be wrong, but I feel it could be brother-in-law. I know he would have passed with that cancer, but I know he would have lived on his own as well. And I know that maiming or something to do with that arm is very important.
Thank you, Phil. All right, friends who can understand this information, once again, go for that raise hand button, please. I feel everybody thinking. I can feel it strong. No hands up yet. Oh, I spoke too soon. It always happens. Murphy's Law with me. Melissa, you have your hand raised if you could find that unmute button. Hi, Melissa.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. Welcome.
Hello,
So,
Melissa. Do you understand everything I've said, or is there something slightly out?
I was going to say, since nobody was raising their hand, the only thing that I took is that my father's brother-in-law was named Peter, and he also did pass away. So when I heard that, that's the rest of it I'm not sure about because I really didn't know him very well.
That's fine. Just hold on a minute, okay? Because I know. Would you know? Because I want to just look at something where he would have lived out of the way, or you were told he lived either in the country or out of a town.
I mean, he lived in, I wouldn't really call it the country. It was in Connecticut, but it was maybe in a little town, but it wasn't.
Okay, because it just feels where I was out of the way that little bit. I'm going to work with it. I'm not convinced yet, but let's see where we go. And is there nobody else, Sandra, that's got their hand up? So just wait there. There's not. Okay, that's fine. So if then it's just to find you, because I want to look at this in a slightly different way, then would I be right in saying, Melissa, your dad is in the spirit world?
Yes.
Then, and with your dad, where he would have lived, would have been out in the country.
He also, they kind of grew up near each other, so he did live in like small little towns in Connecticut
That's
too.
fine, because I know I want to be out of the way. It feels like I want to be not in a big city, but out of the way. And it feels where there would have been trees, greenery, and that environment as well. But I want to look what I said at the beginning. Then, if it's not your Peter, with your dad, would you understand where there was either an accident with his right arm or one of his arms?
No, That's the one
There's
thing I
not.
definitely, yeah.
Right, that's
And I'm
fine,
not
because
sure
I
about
know
Peter.
here, and there's nobody else with a hand. I'm going to leave that for a second, but I'm not going to let go of it, okay? Then with your dad, oh, somebody else, oh,
'Cause
Sandra's getting my,
we have another hand raised that just went up.
Okay.
No, you just stay right where you are, Melissa. Dina, if
Okay.
you would press your unmute button. Hi, Dina.
Hi, Phil, I can take some of that. I don't know about the right hand. I just don't know. But some of what you said, yes,
okay. So you understand Peter in the spirit world, Dina?
yes,
And do you understand where they live was out of the way, almost like the rural places?
yes.
And dad's in the spirit world as well?
My dad, yes.
Yes. And would I be right in saying Peter would have lived by himself?
Um, no, he wasn't by himself.
But there's because I want to look at this, I want to make sure I get to the right person. Would I be right in saying Peter was very independent?
Yes,
That's fine, because I know, and could I be right in saying as well that Peter could be quite stubborn?
yes.
Because I get the impression, I don't want to acknowledge, when I say stubborn, I want to say he wouldn't accept help from people.
I'm not sure on that one.
That's fine, because I know I'm going to work between the two of them here. I actually feel I'm with Dina, not with Melissa. But Melissa, please just hold that thought for a second. Then also with your dad, he could be quite stubborn as well.
My dad's being
Yes.
stubborn, yes.
Yes. Okay, as well. And with your dad, would it be right in saying he's not the greatest of talkers?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Okay. If I said he wouldn't like to get to be the center of attention.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Because I know here it's almost like I'm just hearing little words, and I know it's reflecting his personality as well. So I get the impression. I'm just going to stay with you for a little bit, Dina, here. But where Peter was concerned, I want to say that he would it's almost like he was a little bit of a loner. He always wanted to do things by himself.
I wouldn't take that.
Okay, then if I've got it the wrong way round, it must be Dad. He liked his own space.
Yes.
That's fine, because I know what I hadn't got it wrong way around. But I also know with your dad then, he liked to either go out by himself as well.
Could be.
There with me. And would I be right in saying he would do little odd jobs for people?
It wasn't odd jobs, it was like gifts.
Okay, because I know there's something about doing something different and individual, but I know, and if I'm right with this, it's almost where I want to say it was something he enjoyed, like a craft or creative side of him.
That I don't know.
Okay, would I be right in saying that your dad could either whittle things or make things out of wood?
No.
Bear with me. Let me check in with Melissa. Does this make sense, Melissa?
I mean, my dad kind of had like odd jobs, and he was a painter,
No, I
but
don't
not
feel
really.
that's right. I don't feel that's right. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to work between the two of you. Either Dina or Melissa, would you have either wooden ornaments or something made of wood of your father's?
Melissa?
I just have paintings.
Just paintings.
Painting.
And Dina?
Dina.
No, I do not.
And I do believe somebody in our audience is not speaking up. So I'm going to go through it again because I know we're running out of time. I know I want the name of Peter. I do believe he would have been very independent, if not living on his own. I know where he would have lived in the country or out of town. I also believe with him there would have been either an accident or, and I could be wrong here. You're going to cough?
Sorry.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, but I also feel if it's not an accident where he was maimed, then I know there's lack of use with one of his arms where there's a stroke or condition where he struggles with that arm. Let's see.
Jane has raised her hand. And Fusan also.
Okay. Can we bring them both in just to save a little bit of time
We
here?
sure can. And ladies, just keep listening in. Hi, Jane.
Hello.
Hello,
Hi.
Jane.
Hi,
What do you
Fusan.
understand of
Oh,
what I
sorry.
said?
I can understand pretty much of it. I don't understand the bit about the arm. I might not have known that later.
Okay. And
He was Peter, and he was like a brother.
okay, that's fine. I'm going to hold that then. Fusun, what do you understand, please?
Yes, what I understand is definitely the injured arm. That's my dad. He was independent and he did live in a small town, but his name isn't Peter. He had a brother whose name was very close to that, except
Okay,
the
that
country.
because I know the arm is important. Would you understand with I'm going to work with Fuson just for a second. Fuson, would you understand where your dad could be to the point, stubborn, and would do everything his own way?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and also here, if I said that there would have either been wood or crafting that he would have either done as a hobby or done for people,
Yes, he's very talented.
that's
Yeah.
fine because I know that's what I want. And would I also be right in saying that there would be either you've still got an artifact of wood that was done by your dad?
It was painting, mostly painting.
Then would you understand where he made something and painted it?
He might have where he used to live out of the country.
That's fine, because I know here it's important and I know that's going to come back to you. But I also believe your dad did things his own way.
Yes.
And it's almost where he was known for being a little bit stubborn and obstinate at times.
Yes.
Because it just feels I can't change my evidence. But again, it's that condition with his arm, I want to say, where it didn't stop him. It's almost like a personal challenge to him.
Yes.
Okay, because again, it's almost where I don't want to admit about a disablement or that lacking, because I know it's important I acknowledge that and stay with it as well. But I also know that your dad, like I said to one of the other ladies, wasn't one for a lot of words.
Yes, this is true.
Because I also feel here there's a real strength of character with him that he seems to keep on implying towards yourself, Fuson, about carry on and keep on going.
And yes.
And I also believe here with your dad, he would have it's almost where he would have never given up on things. It's almost where there was jobs and chores outside the house he enjoyed.
Yes.
And again, it's almost like he didn't let this condition, this thing with his arm, stop him. And I know this is what I want to leave you with, is where he says, do not let people stop you. Do not let life stop you. This is a new year, a new start, and we keep on going.
Thank you so much.
And I'm going to leave his love with you, Fuson. Thank you for allowing me to do that, but it was important I get to the right one. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always a pleasure to work for the Spirit World, always a pleasure to represent the Sunday gathering, but also to deliver you those words of inspiration, also love about those loved ones wanting to connect. And I hope you all can take something from the demonstration. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Phil, and thank you, Kerry. Everyone, press your raise hand button just as a round of applause for Kerry and Phil, all their hard work and working with the spirit world. And again, don't be discouraged if it wasn't your loved one. These nice people came through on behalf of all of our loved ones to say, we're right here with you. We love you. And I promise you this, you will see them again. So some exciting announcements. In just 1/2 hour time, we are hosting, or I am hosting, medium Chris Jacobs, who will be doing a 90-minute medium demonstration. He's been here on the Sunday gathering before. He's a lovely gentleman. Everything I'm going to announce you can register for at the store page at wedon'tdie.com. Just click on the store. As you saw Kerry and Phil demonstrating today, it's great to get a medium reading with a good medium, but you know what's even better? It's to take a class yourself. And I say this kind of like I said in my address. You know, we can be sitting in the stands or on the court. And when we're on the court taking action, I tell you, miracles happen. In the rooms in the medium student medium rooms in our medium level 1 and 2, and they have a new class called Color and the Aura. You're putting yourself out there. The spirit world works with you, and the things that you know psychically, mediumistically, and with color, they're amazing. So Kerry and Phil's new classes start this week. All are welcome. We do ask, though, that you have some practice before joining medium level 2, but please join us. They're wonderful. They're 6-week classes. They're 2 hours each session, and video replay is included. So if you cannot join live, you can watch by way of video replay. You're also part of a wonderful Facebook group, so you'll have people to practice the work with. Pretty great. And we have a number of people joining us today from Florida, and that reminded me, and Kerry and Phil will be in Miami at the end of the month. It's all part of being filmed for our new upcoming film, Evidence of the Afterlife, featuring Kerry and Phil. But they're offering a proper course and a medium demonstration. Our friend Jennifer Brazier is going to be there as well. Again, when you go to the store page at wedon'tdie.com, just scroll down a little. There's a button to press for the live events for Kerry and Phil. You can see their upcoming event, obviously, yes, in Miami, but also they're going to be going down under to New Zealand, Australia. They have events planned in the United States, in Canada, and more. England, too. Lots of good things there. Their website also is mymediumship.com. You can find those good things. Tomorrow starts class number 1 with Scott Milligan with Trance and the Altered States. That is a 4-session class. Again, 2 hours. I am also part of that class. Different kind of mediumship. This is spend most of the time with your eyes closed. You're getting some lecture, and it's a gentle blending of your soul with the unseen world and your loved ones. And it's a wonderful course, really wonderful course. Other things going on. Now, this next thing I'm going to mention is not a We Don't Die course, but it is somebody that I know, and it is Arthur Finley College tutor and course organizer, Kitty Wood. My friend Jennifer is actually hosting the event, but I've heard Kitty give this talk on what happens when we die from the spirit world's perspective, and it is moving and touching and comforting. So it's just something that I'm recommending on behalf of them, because if you want to join, you can certainly watch, and the replay is also included for that. And yes, I have that featured on the store page. Just after that ends, Scott Milligan is back for what we call In the Arms of Eternity. And we first start with Sitting for Healing, followed by a demonstration of trance mediumship. So it's pretty great. We have an opportunity to have a conversation and your questions answered by a friend in the unseen world. Our tutors are traveling. Like I said, Kerry and Phil have some wonderful things coming up. Also, Scott, you can find him. He'll be traveling to New Orleans, to Massachusetts, Brighton, England. And I love recommending our tutors' works. Wherever they are good people, and there's nothing like joining them live. And also there's tons of value in joining online in the comfort of your own home. And we have had miracles and friendships that have been created in our online classes. I have 2 new podcasts for you, one with Mark Pitstick, Dr. Mark Pitstick, and the update on the soul phone and after-death communication, and also this lovely lady named Claudia Milligan and the relationship she has with her son. Again, you can find that at wedon'tdie.com. And last, just a shout out to our generous friends who have donated to make our Sunday gathering possible. Sometimes it's $1 or $2, and sometimes a little bit more. We don't ever beg, but I can tell you we appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. So thank you so much for making the Sunday gathering possible. So that is to the wonderful people who have donated. So I'm going to turn it over to Kerry and Phil for some words for the week.
Thank you, Sandra, for some wonderful words and announcements that is happening in the future. May I first of all say thank you to everyone that's donated to the film Evidence of the Afterlife. It's been an incredible thing. People have been very generous, and I know they're still donating. That film is basically made for everyone, raising the standards of mediumship and educating people to what mediumship is. But today is the intention of new beginnings. And as we know, having the intentions and sometimes starting things can be hard work. There may be fears or self-limiting beliefs. And the hardest thing is taking that first step. Well, I want to share something with you where somebody very important to me this week, in just today, took his first steps. That was my father. He, over the Christmas period, fell and broke his hip. And today was his first day of taking those first few steps after that hip replacement. So, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter how old we are, how strong we are. If we've got a determination, if we've got an intention, then we can achieve. And if we can do that, you never know. But I'll let you into a secret. Everybody that does something, everything that they do is new. They've got a fear, they've got a worry, they may be scared, but they do it. But here's the secret. Afterwards, they say, what was all that fuss about? It was a lot easier than I thought. So don't let your mind get in the way. Set your intention, aim for those milestones and successes and goals, and let life do the rest. Remember what Jim Kerry said. Just have the right intention. Just take those opportunities, and what a difference life can have for us all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thanks to Sandra and Phil. It is an absolute pleasure to be able to take part in the Sunday gathering and the theme New Beginning. Whatever you have in store, I know we are in the first week of January, but it might already feel like February or another month. The year will go quick enough. Allow yourself to fully be present. I know there's that old adage about the past and the future and the present, but the present is where we make the difference, where we make our steps, where we make our decisions. What comes out of those decisions belongs in tomorrow, but don't let tomorrow, the worry about the how, impact the what of today. The how will take care of itself. So whatever intentions you have, don't stall, don't procrastinate, just do and trust that you have the how within you. We're now going to close our Sunday gathering in prayer. So allow us to go into that moment of gratitude and prayer. Divine, ever-present Spirit, today we have talked about gratitude, new beginnings, courage, strength, and the new year. We know that we have been given another day, whether it is the start, the middle, or towards the end of our day. We're grateful for today is the present moment. We will, within ourselves, find that courage to move through because we know that light of the divine is within us. And if all else dims, that light within us cannot, for it is part of us, a divine light that cannot go out. No death, no change can take that light away. It belongs to us. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Kerry and Phil, and everyone who's joined us here. Please know we read everything you put in the chat box. We just don't have time to respond, so you can keep it coming. And here is our closing song. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week, if not sooner. Those of you meeting me for the medium demonstration, just give me 2 minutes and I'll open up the Zoom room. Kerry and Phil, mwah, kisses to you. We'll catch up soon. Bye, everybody.